All right, algebraic manipulation. It sounds really bad
Whoa.
because it's manipulation, but you're going to be able to move around and solve for stuff. So for this, we're going to solve for y, but we're going to start off by solving for x in some very simple, very basic ways, but I'm starting off simple and basic so you can see that this weird thing is the same exact thing as what I'm showing you right here because it's just two principles you got to accurately repeat. So I have 5 equals x plus 2. You should be able to glance at this one and be like, oh, x is 3, right? So something plus 2 is 5 is what it's kind of saying.
Yeah.
You can kind of look at this and be like, okay, 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 2 is 4, 3. Oh, it's 3.
Wow.
You can do that. That is not the process I'd want you to do just in general, because that's not going to work for the harder problems, and it's definitely not going to work for here. And I'm like, hey, what does y equal? No idea. That's weird. Okay, so what you should do, you need to get x by itself. Solve for x. Isolate it. Get it by itself. Get it alone. So right now, there's a plus 2 over here with x. How do I get rid of a plus 2?
You minus it.
You minus 2. It undoes it, right? What's 2 minus 2?
0.
Hey, that's what we wanted. We want a 0. Now, here's the problem with an equation. Equations are
Whatever you do with
equal
one
on both sides,
Yeah,
right?
we do.
So that's why there's an equal sign, the equal equation. You see the whole big picture? Okay. If they're equal and I just minus 2 from this side,
you have to do the same thing.
same thing to this side. So we're just fundamentals. Y'all should know
Wow.
that in general. Minus 2. These cancel out. Great. 5 minus 2 is 3, and that equals x. Okay, great.
Wow.
Okay. Again, fundamentals and basics, and if you're like, oh my God, Coach B, I know this. I'm talking like this, so when I talk like this in a second, you're like, oh gosh, it's the same thing. So here's the same thing we're going on now. Minus 5. I'm going to opposite that
Add 5.
on both sides. So these cancel out. Negative 5 plus 5 is 0. X over here. 10 plus 5 is 15. Great. Done. Okay. Now, a little bit more complicated here. We're going to step it on up now. There's 2 things that are happening to x, and I want you to kind of think of it like that. Here's x. I want you to solve for x. What 2 operations are being done to x? Because he's not alone right now. What? He's being multiplied by 2 and
Add.
being added by 2. That sounds awful grammar. Okay.
Added.
He's having 2 being added on to him. I think that's even bad. But anyway, multiplying stuff and adding stuff is happening. So I'm going to undo that, starting with the easiest, addition, subtraction stuff, and working my way through the harder stuff. Okay. So I'm going to minus 2 from both sides. To again, get rid of those. Okay. 4 minus 2 is 2 equals 2x. Is x by himself?
No.
No, I have twice as many x's as I need. I have a times 2 in front of it, so how do I undo a times or multiply by 2?
Division.
Divide by 2, divide by 2. Great. Now, here's one thing. I know this is maybe nitpicking, but this does not cancel out. Okay? It reduces, okay? But what is 2? This sounds really basic. What is 2 minus 2?
0.
0. Oh, careful. 2 minus 2 is not 2. It's always 2. No. 2 minus 2 is 0. That cancels out to nothing. What is 2 divided by 2? 1. Okay, so careful, right? It's 1. It does not go away. It's not 0x now. It is 1x, right? And that equals 2 divided by 2 is 1. Are you going to ever see me write 1x? No.
No, you
Because if
just
you
write
write it,
X.
I'd point and laugh at you. Because it's cute and weird. You erase that, then it's x. It's gone. So I understand a lot of people say cancel out. I might even mess up and say cancel out, but you get the idea, okay? It reduces to 1, but that's longer to say. Anyway, there we go. X equals 1. Okay, come on in. Oh, you're fine. Just grab a seat. So for the next part here, I have 10 equals negative x. That's weird. Minus 1. Okay. So what are we gonna do here?
First, let's add 1 to both sides.
This makes sense. Let's go ahead and add 1 to both sides. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. That's a little weird. I have 11 equals negative x. Okay. I want you to, after this, you should be able to know exactly how to do this, is you should instantly know that the answer is x equals negative 11 with no math involved whatsoever. And this is the shortcut, okay? If you see this, I want you to be able to instantly do that. But I do want you to know what's happening behind the scenes. What number is in front of x right now?
A 1.
a negative 1, right? Okay, yeah, all right. I need to get x, though, not negative x. So I'm going to divide by, what is in front of it?
Negative 1.
Negative 1, right? What's negative 1 divided by negative 1? That's a weird question. What?
1.
Positive 1. Okay, cool. Just for a reference, negative 87 divided by negative 87
It's positive.
is 1, right? Okay, so anything divided by the same thing is 1, just in general, okay?
Wow.
So once I did this, that cancels out. Now I just have x, or 1x, or whatever. But if I did that to that side,
You have to do the other side.
so I also divide by negative 1. And a positive divided by a negative is a negative. 11 divided by 1 is 11, right?
Huh.
Okay, cool. Okay, so here's how I think of this, though, with my lovely example right here,
Oh.
okay? This looks weird, long, and confusing, and we're not solving, we're not doing anything weird with it. I need you to solve for x for here. Is this solved for x?
No.
No, it's solved for negative x, which is the opposite, I guess, of what I want, right? I want this to just be x. I want you to watch what happens, see if you can make sense of it, and you know what I did. I'm doing no math right now. No math's involved. Here we go. X equals negative 2y plus 7, almost messed up there, minus 3z plus 8, or 86q, or whatever I said there. That's the answer.
Did you just,
What happened to every single thing?
you switched them?
I switched the signs on everything because that's the same thing I did here, how I got that so quick. Oh, 11 equals negative x. Well, if I just want the opposite of that, I don't want negative x, I want x. So then the 11 turned, you know what I'm saying? Everything just changed, like dominoes, right? So technically, whenever I did that, I am technically dividing by negative 1, dividing by negative 1, dividing by negative 1, dividing by negative 1, dividing by negative 1. Whew, right? But I'm not thinking that I'm not doing that. I'm not writing that out, right? I'm just like, oh, cool, got it. And then I sweep through, do that thing to everyone, right? All right. So now leads us to your actual example problem. So this is the top one, the second one, and then the third one. So number 1, number 6, and number 11, okay? So for this one, we're doing these 3 and then we're done. Solve for y. Y? Yeah, solve for it. Why?
Get out of here.
Because you have to. All right. So solve for y using the same principles from here, adding and subtracting, moving around, dividing stuff, whatever you need to do. Okay. So what I need to do to get y by itself?
You subtract negative.
I subtract 3x and subtract 3x. Great. These cancel out. I have y equals. Now what should I write first?
The 3x.
I'm going to write minus 3x first plus 12, just because you want to write your x's first. If there was an x squared, I write him first, and then the x's, and then the numbers, okay? So there you go. And that's your answer.
Really?
I've solved for y, right?
Oh.
Somebody asked last time, like, how do you know when to stop? Like, how do you know when you're done? Well, when y is by itself, you're done, if it's just y, all right? So, next part, getting a little harder now. The last one's the most difficult one. I'm solving for y. What do I do first?
Subtract the 6x.
Move the 6x over. So I have minus 6x to move it across the equal sign to the other side. So now these cancel out, and I have 2y equals negative 6x plus 12. Have we solved for y?
No.
No, it's by itself. It's over there with something, but it's not completely solved for. So I'm going to do what?
Divide it.
Divide by 2 to who?
To everyone.
Everyone. Most math teachers will write this. And I get it. I understand. That's cool. I personally, what are we about to do? Who's being divided? Both of them. Everybody, right? So me personally, you're going to see me write divided by 2, so that you don't forget it. Because so many times if you write a big old divided by 2, you'll do this one, but then you'll forget about the 12. And the 12 just slips through the cracks and is still a 12 somehow, right? So there you go. Now, simplify, not cancel. Simplify, that becomes a 1y. Great, that's what I'm looking for. Negative divided by a positive, what's my sign going to be?
Negative.
Negative. I do that in one step. I know if you're super advanced and you just want to do it all at once, sure, go for it. But think of that first. Have a little moment where you're like, okay, it's going to be a negative, and then I look at the numbers instead of getting overwhelmed. 6 divided by 2, does that reduce? 2 to 3, yes. 6 divided by 2 is 3, or 6 over 2 reduces to 3, right?
Wow.
Whatever. X, and then positive over okay, we're good with positives. And then what?
6.
6, that's my answer.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. The last one is nasty. I'm warning you, it's nasty looking, but it's the same easy level. In fact, I would say it's easier than this. And I'll prove that here in a second. Okay. What am I doing first?
You're moving the 8 over.
I'm moving the 8 over. Yes, I'm moving it over there. I'm gonna see if y'all can follow me on this. Negative 3y equals negative 8x plus 17.
Oh.
Do you see how I kind of skipped a step or I didn't write it? What did I do though? I minus 8x from both sides, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. Anyway, it's just saving a step for people who are super quick. All right. Now, what do I do to get y by itself?
You divide negative 3.
Divided by negative 3. Divided by negative. That was weird. I had to stop like that. All right. Anyway, you just freaking write it down because it's just the 8 and the 3. They don't reduce evenly like the 6 and the 2 did. Oh, that's 3. There's actually more work involved here than there was here. You just write it down. All right. 17 over, or positive divided by negative is a negative.
17 over 3.
It's just 17 over 3 because it does not reduce. If you did not know that, you can type 17 divided by 3 in the calculator.
Like 5.66.
If you get a decimal of some kind, 5 point whatever, then it doesn't reduce. And there's your answer.
Nice.
Now we're done. Cool.